Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center. As you can see by the title and by the thumbnail, today we're going to be studying some film on Justin Reid. So the very first play, the Chiefs come out in a cover one defense, which is a man-to-man defense with a single high safety, which is Justin Reid. They don't have a robber. That would be a person sitting across the middle trying to take away the options of the drag routes and things of that nature. And I think this might have been a third down play, if I'm not mistaken. So it probably was a guy to have a situation. But Justin Reid just does a good job at really just tracking Purdy's eyes. And that's kind of what a single high does, is kind of just watch the quarterback eyes and see where he's trying to go with it to give the over-the-top help, so he wants to stay back deep. But obviously, once he realizes that Purdy isn't going deep, he's able to break on the ball. Now, granted, too, if you see up front, they were able to get pressure on the edge right here. That might be Karlaftis, I believe. But by him being able to get pressure on Purdy, it made Purdy have to rush this throw. And I think Purdy was kind of trying to throw in anticipation, meaning that he was thinking that the receiver was going to eventually come open and it would have been a shot right there. But like I said, Justin Reid just did a good job at reading his eyes and being able to drive down, make a play on the ball, and come over the interception right here. So right here, we got a gotta have a situation. Kansas City is on a single high shell once again, which is a single high safety, and that's Justin Reid. So just look at how he's able to drive downhill. Once he sees that the ball is out of Lamar's hand, he's pretty much driving downhill. And it's similar to what I was saying too in the previous play. So being that cover one position, that single high safety, a lot of the times you're trying to read the quarterback eyes to kind of get an idea of where he's going with the ball. So obviously, if you're tracking Lamar Jackson's eyes, you see that that's where he's going to that check down route, and that check down route, how Justin Reid not drove downhill to make a play would have been a first down play, but he does a good job at recognizing what they were trying to do and being able to act on it. And once again, another underestimated thing that I think that a lot of people overlook is open field tackling, because if he misses this tackle, that's a first down. But by him being able to drive downfield, recognize what they're doing, and secure the tackle, it puts them in a situation to where either depending on where they at, they're gonna have to go for it on fourth down or take the field goal or possibly punt the ball. So right here, it looks like the Chiefs were in a cover zero, meaning that they were in a man-to-man all across the board, that there was no over-the-top help because they sent the guy right here in motion, and Justin Reid came down and followed him. But once again, man, he just does a good job at reading Kirk Cousins' eyes and really just reading the play as well. But reading Kirk Cousins' eyes to knowing exactly where the ball was going right here on this screen route. And they did have the numbers. So if Justin Reid wasn't aggressive and came downhill so aggressively, they would have had the numbers, because you would have had a hat for a hat. You would have had your two receivers matched up on two DBs. But once Justin Reid realized what it was, he came downhill full speed because he was unblocked and was able to make a tackle on the receiver in the backfield for a loss. So right here, he does a good job at being able to make an open field tackle. But I also noticed one of the things too about him too is that he's able to, you can tell that the preparation for him to be able to dominate the way he does, it starts through preparation, because everything is more so instinctive, and it's like things are more so seeming like a reflex opposed to a react because film study and preparing and seeing what teams like to do based out of certain formations, based out of down and distant. It allows for you to play fast, and it allows for you to play physical. So right here, once again, he does a good job at closing the distance on the tight end and being able to drive downhill and make a tackle in open space. And it's like, I want you really to look at the significance. If he misses this tackle, that's another maybe 5-6 yards, possibly a first down, depend on if everybody on the defense is rallying to the ball. But by him being able to secure that tackle, you look at a second and 10, and I mean, you might have a 2-3 yard gain from that. So now you're looking at third and medium or third and long, opposed to either a first down or third and short. So in this play right here, they got him playing directly in the box, almost like some type of safety linebacker hybrid. So it looks like they were in man-to-man coverage on this play right here, Kansas City, because obviously Kansas City like they run a lot more man-to-man. But they have him in man-to-man coverage. So you look at initially, the running back and the tight end didn't go out for passes initially. They stayed in the back to kind of try to help with pass protection. So whether that was to be able to chip block, or whether that was be able to try to come and give help on whoever Chris Jones was lined up on. So right here, he did a good job at kind of recognizing that and being able to kind of keep himself in position to make a play just in case they did throw it underneath like they did here. And obviously, the whole thing was to have the running back chip and hesitate, but to also throw off the defense, because obviously if you're playing man-to-man and you're Justin Reid and you're using the banjo technique, meaning that depending on where the running back, which way he releases, if he releases right, you take the other guy that was next to him would take him, but if he releases left, Justin Reid would take him. But if he doesn't go out for a route and he's into pass protection, that player could either blitz, or he could kind of go and find somewhere, put himself in a position to kind of help one of his other guys on the back end. But he does a good job at staying kind of close in proximity and realizing what they were trying to do and closing the distance very, very quickly and being able to make a play on the tackle, making a play on the ball carrier in space. So this right here, like it was some type of zone coverage, possibly. A part of me want to say it was a cover 3, because you had the safety who was, kind of at a deep point. You had the corner that was in the slot. He's bailing back to the deep point. And then you have the outside guy. He's getting his depth too. So a part of me want to say that probably was a cover 3 defense. But Justin Reid right here does a good job at kind of just sitting in a blind spot, honestly. And, obviously watching Baker Mayfield's eyes sitting in that blind spot. And Baker Mayfield did not see him sitting underneath. He thought maybe he might have had a shot, because if Justin Reid wasn't there, then that was a completion with opportunity with yards after the catch. But with Justin Reid being able to sit down and kind of be out of his vision, once he releases the ball, he's able to break on the ball and almost comes up with an interception here. So right here on this play, Kansas City has a 2-high shell, meaning that they have 2 safeties. And let me see how many people they sent on the blitz on this play right here. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you had a 6-man rush. So you knew for the most part, from a safety's perspective, if we got a rush like this, right, we know that the quarterback probably is identifying exactly where the blitz is possibly coming from. So his whole thing is, I have to get this ball out of my hands quick. So what Justin Reid does is pretty much just sit there and read Baker Mayfield's eyes. He doesn't even, chop his feet or nothing. He reads Baker Mayfield's eyes, and you can see him break right there as soon as who Baker Mayfield was looking at. Because 9 times out of 10 in a situation like that where they're sending a house, the quarterback is trying to get rid of that ball as quickly as possible. So in that situation, he doesn't have time to go through his progressions and to make full field reads, because the ball has to be coming out just like that. So Justin Reid does a good job at understanding that. And as soon as he realized who his eyes was locked in on, he just drove downhill and made a tackle. And once again, man, being able to make a tackle in open space to make this a third, pretty much a 3rd and long steal. So this right here is a work of art to me, man. This is almost like looking at a Da Vinci portrait and just admiring the beautifulness that is that portrait. So notice that right here with Justin Reid, he comes down here. So by the way, they're in a single high safety once again, which that means that they're in man coverage. So notice how when Justin Reid comes down, look at how he hits the slot with a receiver. Bam! He hits him to slow him down and to get into his route, but then is also able to drop back and cover the tight end as well. So it's almost similar to think about whenever you have in pass protection, whenever you have a running back that chips a defender, or you have a tight end that chips a defender to slow down their pass rush ability, to give the quarterback just a little bit more time to try to get the ball out of his hands. It's almost the equivalent right here. What he does is he comes in, he nudges him. Boom, it slows down the timing of that route. Now he drops back out as well to be able to cover the tight end in one-on-one coverage, and he does a good job at being able to break up that play. And he affected that play in 2 different ways. Like I said, being able to come downhill, slow down the timing of the wide receiver route by nudging him, and then being able to drop back and being able to get a PBI on the tight end in man-to-man coverage. So right here, Justin Reid does another good job at utilizing his eyes again. So it looks like on this play originally, I was going to say that, he realized that he wasn't going to be able to beat that off the center in pass rush. So he decided to just, get a hand up there to try to disrupt the play, or to try to stop, to break up the pass. But I think that initially his whole objective was to be a decoy for the center. So with the center engaged on him, he doesn't catch the linebacker, number 32. I think that's Bolden coming through with a free shot at the quarterback. But also, once again, Justin Reid being disciplined with his eyes and just watching the quarterback eyes, he realizes exactly where the ball is going. And he does a good job of just being able to get his hand up there and deflect the pass to prevent a possible completion. So once again, man, this is another beautiful play, man. This is Da Vinci. This is a Da Vinci portrait, man. You just admiring the beauty. So right here, man, it's just really, man, it's just physicality. This is just football at its finest. You see that they're trying to, do a little jet sweep. Once again, he just does a good job at taking on the block on number 1 head on and just blowing him up and being able to help with assisting and making a tackle on that play. Well, actually, he came and blew that play up and really made the play on his own. I seen a couple red jerseys over there, so I was assuming that somebody might have got a hold to him first, just kind of considering where he was coming from in terms of Trent McDuffie had already being there, but he just comes and just disrupts this whole play, blow the block up, and then able to make the tackle before they're able to gain a first down. Right here, you got Kansas City in another cover one, meaning that they only have one deep guy, which is the safety. So everything else all across the board is man-to-man coverage. Once again, so you got Justin Reid matched up on a tight end. So to be dominant, especially playing that role that he plays, because he more so, it looks like he kind of play around the line of scrimmage in the box to be able to give run support because he's a sure hand tackler. But you have to also be able to cover, because you got to be able to cover possibly tight ends. You got to be able to cover slot receivers, running backs lining up in the slots. So you have to be able to cover as well. It's not just physicality based, meaning that all you can do is tackle. When you playing this low, you have to be able to cover just as well as tackle. So he does a good job at having a one-on-one matchup on the tight end and off man-to-man coverage. So he does a good job at kind of weaving and staying squared with him. I'm pretty sure he wasn't really worried about the threat of the tight end running past him, because that's just not that tight end. If anything, it was going to be something short and something underneath. And then you can also almost guarantee that it's probably going to be something outbreaking just based off of his split and how close he's lined up, because it gives him that it gives him a double option. But right here, man, Justin Reid just did a good job at just being patient, kind of weaving with him, staying in front of him, and reading CJ Stroud's eyes once again, and being able to undercut this for a pass breakup. So right here, man, Justin Reid put me in the mind of a lion. So if you ever notice sometimes in the wild when lions are hunting and they're in areas where you have tall grass and those open grasslands, they get real low to try to disguise themselves so they don't give away, so they can get the jump on their prey, so they can ambush them. So whenever they get down low, they're moving up towards their prey, but they don't want to alert their prey to know what's coming. So the prey is just sitting there clueless of what's to come. And the lion just slowly inches forward until it gets within range and it pounces on it for the kill. So that's exactly what Justin Reid did right here on this play. He just did a good job at staying low and reading Russell Wilson's eyes. Look at him. He's low right there, reading the eyes. And you know that there's only so many options that he has to pass the ball. You got three guys going out for a route. Running back eventually goes out for the check down route right there. But most teams are probably going to they're going to want to get greedy and go downfield. Now, I don't know the down and distance. It could have been a fourth down play, but the right read would have been a check down route to the running back in the flats to pick up some yards, opposed to throwing an interception and leaving the red area with no points, and Justin Reid did a good job of just recognizing it, reading Russell Wilson's eyes, and just making a play on the ball right here. And that's one of the things I will say that I noticed about him. He's real good in his eye discipline and kind of just reading and trying to get a feel for where the quarterback is trying to go. And like I said, man, a lot of it comes through preparation, understanding down and distance, understanding formations, what offenses are trying to do, who are they go-to guys, whether it's in a shotgun, whether it's on a center, whatever the case may be, whether they're lined up closer to the offensive line. So a lot of that comes through preparation. And when you see him being able to make plays like this and a lot of other plays that he made, it just shows you that there's a lot that he's very attention to detail oriented whenever it comes to his game preparation. So right here, once again, man, just high effort, high motor, high energy, just flying and rallying to the ball. Justin Reid does that again right here. So it looks like they probably was in cover one again, which like I keep saying, is a single high safety. And you have two things you can operate in out of cover one with a single high. I mean, that's either man-to-man coverage or zone coverage. So right here, it looks like they're in man-to-man coverage with him matched up on a slot receiver. And what did I just say in the previous clip? When you're playing that role of that box safety or a nickel corner, you have to be able to, for one, tackle, but you also have to be able to cover. So we already seen that he's a sure tackler, right? And we've seen that he's been able to be able to contribute in the past in terms of being able to defend. So right here, man, they send number 10 in motion, and he just follows him all the way from across the field and just breaks on the ball once again and is able to make a sure tackle in space on a good guy, a good shifty guy, and to minimize that gain for, pretty much a gain of maybe one or two, if not nothing, and like I say, that's just what he brings to the table, man. He just has that high energy, that high motor. He has that aggressiveness. He has that physicality. And those are the type of guys like him. These are the type of guys that breathes life into a defense with the plays that they make, man, because he does make some incredible plays. And this right here is one of them as well. But like I said, man, there's a lot to like about this guy. I like his physicality. I like his ability to close the distance pretty fast. I think that he spends a lot of time preparing for games, obviously preparation, because when you see him playing, the only way that you can play as fast and make plays like he does is it has to be preparation. It has to be things that you've seen, studying film that they like to do based off of down and distance and certain formations. And when you see him out there, it's almost like he's just, it's just a reflex because he already knows what's happening, and this was another, this play right here was just another embodiment of that. Man, but like I said, man, if you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click click that notification bell where you be notified every time I upload, and I'll see y'all in the next video.